Hello. How are you? British People's League? Do I sound unsure? Well, YouTube, hey, I better watch it. They're the host of all this stuff. Well, let's just say that the technical aspects, I've already done one rerun today. And frankly, I do need technical support right here on the scene. It's getting pretty hard on the nerves. It's hard enough being enthusiastic to bring you this edition, March 4th, 2014, of Dinosaur News. And I don't like starting off with a cry all the time, but there was a time when we could just put the YouTube on. We were going bi-weekly. It didn't seem to be the problem. Now the camera doesn't come in on time, and whine. You're going to shut me off before you even listen. Okay, we'll try again. Now another ad pops up. We're going to do an analogy today with the situation in the Ukraine. Sincere patriots wanting freedom of speech. The Russian bear overpowering. But I'm speaking to Ukrainian Canadians in particular. I've seen some of you demonstrating for your peoples, your kith, your kin in the homeland, which is understandable, as these shows are for those of British stock and our European friends, our European cousins. But I do want you to realize that there are freedoms you take for granted here in Canada, which we don't even have. For instance, freedom of speech. This boy was going to have a free speech rally in honor of the founder of Canada, Sir John A. Macdonald. 3 years ago this month, it got smeared to pieces. It's going to be on July 4th. July 4th. I got America on the brain because of all the publicity over the Ukraine. July 1st, the founding date for the Dominion of Canada. We were going to have a 3-day rally, similar to what we had in 1989, 167 young people for 3 days, tug of war with the ropes, bagpiper, swimming in the bush. It was wonderful. Well, we had 200 acres lined up in 2011. Newspaper got wind of it ahead of time. Huge smear. The Reeve of Minden Hills, Barbara Reid, had no right to interfere, said CFRB, the largest radio station in Canada, when they interviewed me. The provincial police had no right to interfere. According to the Police Act, they're not to interfere with political activity. And as the papers had stated back then, well, let's see, Barb Reid. Reid said she will be checking in with the police about the event. Constable Sandy Adams of the Ontario Provincial Police says the force received information. Whoa! Listen, in the 167 young people on July 1st, 1989, there wasn't even a threat of an arrest. 3 days of white people having fun celebrating white Sir John A. Macdonald. Sir John A. Macdonald wasn't black, I don't think. He wasn't brown. He wasn't born in Israel. He wasn't born in Pakistan. He was born in Scotland, came over here and brought over the British-Scottish traditions. God bless his soul. So Reid said she'll be checking in with the police about the event. That's the Reeve of Minden Township. As CFRB said, the Reeve had no business talking at all about a 200-acre rally to be held on private property by a private owner. Constable Sandy Adams of the Ontario Provincial Police says the force received information about the League's event, and it's under investigation. Well, I didn't get a report about the investigation, but I do know that 2 policemen in a cruiser intimidated the property owner into withdrawing his invitation. Up to that point, he was all game for it. We were going to have a hay wagon with bands, concerts, the whole 3 days. The fellow was going to arrange the bands. He didn't chicken out. He's a true pal. Others all chickened out when they saw the publicity. And a local sports team was smeared viciously by the press, and we haven't even broken a law. So that spiel I just raved about, I almost geared to you Ukrainian Canadians some of whom, as patriots, might tune into these shows. Peter Worthington was a great friend of the Ukrainian Committee, and I respected Peter Worthington. Friends equal to the same friends are equal to each other. But the tie-in is you're holding up your signs and demonstrations in sympathy with your relatives and cousins in your homeland. Well, just remember, you live here now with your feet in the ground, and you better help us preserve freedom of speech before it completely disappears. This YouTube is the only place I could have freedom of speech. If I tried to rent a hall, there'd be the leftist liberal crowd, who seem to be the most against freedom of speech, would be pounding at the doors, intimidation, etc. There's no two ways about it, because this has happened in Toronto years ago, etc. And, you can say in democracy they have a right to pick it out front. Of course they do. But we don't have freedom of speech in Canada. Who's kidding who? Freedom of speech as long as you go along with everything and keep your mouth shut. Just tune into that Cable Access Political Canada, CAPC, Canadian Cable Action Public Affairs Canada .ca. Just tune in there and watch the monkeys in the zoo in Ottawa. If we had had success at that 200-acre rally back then, and every year as an annual event, we would have 1,000 every summer gathered. And the city people, the town, I'm not going to say all of them, the only one who opened their mouth was the Reeve and the provincial spokesman, provincial police spokesperson, which it's against the law, by the way, the Police Act. The police are not to involve themselves in politics. CFRB interviewed me, and they said it beautifully. The Reeve should not have interfered, the police should not have interfered. So where was our democracy? But had we succeeded, we'd give the young people something to do, something exciting. We had bands lined up. Oh, it was really going to be spectacular, but all killed with intimidation. Was the police intimidation in Ontario any different than the Russian intimidation in Crimea? Not a drop's worth of difference. So who's kidding who? Have to come to YouTube, because we got a hall meeting. There's people who want to hear what we have to say. The British People's League, talking about our roots, our history, along with our European cousins, along with our British roots. Our friends at candor.org.uk, C-A-N-D-O-U-R, candor.org.uk. We've got a lot to say. So we've got to make these YouTubes work, because it's the last vestige we've got. We've tried everything else, and doors get slammed. Liberals control the news media coast to coast. It's a wonder the Conservatives get in on a national basis in Parliament. But of course their vote is still from the rural areas where British and European white people still vote for the Conservative Party, although they deny me saying that. Because if you look at the pictures in the House of Commons while questions period, they've got a lot of multi-cult members of Parliament. Well, of course, they know the score. They're representing the Hindus, or another guy's representing the Sikh, another one's representing the Chinese. But how long are we going to put up with it that we have to have multicultural representatives? We want Canada to be white, as Sir John A. Macdonald wanted to be white, as Mackenzie King wanted to be white. We're not dreaming. See what's going on in Australia? They're putting the illegal boat people, thumping them right back into their Zippo boats, right back to the beaches of Indonesia and Java, and dropping them right back where they started out from. Okay, so we can do the same someday. And this isn't a threat to new Canadians and multi-cult faiths and so on. We're talking about the illegals, okay? And there's plenty of them. You know it, and I know it. Our culture, we're being smothered to death. Got to talk positive. Well, the positive news is that there's no fear on the part of this boy to name the Reeve, to name the police that stopped the rally. And from now on, people who interfere with us are going to be named on these YouTubes in a legal sense. Don't forget, I was 20 years as a paralegal, so I know the law. And speaking of positive news, I've got to watch the clock, because to get this thing up to you folks, I've got to upload it before 20 minutes is up. I don't know what the problem is, but it's really hard on the nerves. I'm trying to talk to enthuse us all, and then I got these technical problems. I wish we had a right-hand man or woman who would move to the village of Minden and be able to pitch in. Okay, we're going to repeat again from yesterday the exciting news about the white man's march, the white man's demonstrations. It ties in with the lack of freedom of speech. Whoever it is, a white American, thought of this idea of white solidarity in each country of the free world. Slipped on that one. I'm falling for the public news media. In what used to be the free world, the teeny little drop left for white people, for white Christians or white whatever, but white people, the color of our skin. So some form of demonstration is going to take place on the middle of March each year. This will be the first of an annual event. There'll be banner drops in the United Kingdom. That's on the overpasses. No, you're not going to have a banner drop on top of your car. They're going to be strung out carefully, and it'll have a slogan promoting white people. And there may be little marches in the States. It doesn't matter the size. It's the fact that white people around the globe are going to be doing something on March the 15th, the Ides of March. And the establishment better watch out. You remember in the play by Shakespeare, Julius Caesar, the Ides of March, the soothsayer in the back of the crowd, beware of the Ides of March. Sounds small, but it's the beginning of something really big. But it wouldn't have to be this way if we could just get our own halls, or like up here, 200 acres of bushland, that we were going to have a party well away from the tourist areas of the towns, our own private thing. I sound hysterical today. Well, I'm ticked off that I did a previous run of the show, and I've had to redo it. Well, too bad, Beattie. Everybody else has a regular job. Well, what the hell? I thought I was retiring. But hey, I'm the one that chose to do it 5 days a week, and I must do it 5 days a week because there just isn't anyone else doing it. Let George down the street do it. Well, there isn't any George down the street. I'm not bragging. I'm just stating a fact. And our friends on the blind list that keep me going spiritually, methodically, and donations, what they can spare, etc. And you out there, the general public, if you check our webpage, BritishPeoplesLeague.com, you'll see different ways you could donate. There's PayPal or direct to P.O. Box 691, P.O. Box 691, Minden, Ontario, Canada. KOM 2KO. That's Kiss Our Mothers. P.O. Box 691, Minden, M-I-N-D-E-N, Minden, Ontario, Canada, KOM 2KO. You could put some, bills in the, well concealed in an envelope to John Beattie, B-E-A-T-T-I-E. The box is also registered as British People's League. If it's a money order, it's less complications at the bank if you just make it to John Beattie. We're going to re-register again. A new bank account to start off fresh with these new daily YouTubes. But that'll be another $60, so, I can't do everything out of my pension check. But everything's legit. I mean, I ran a small business for 20 years successfully. I mean, I got this house from it. I'm not going to say made a huge profit, but I knew what I was doing. I was licensed, etc. So you can have faith that we will count for donations verbally on these YouTubes. Now, we'd like some topic suggestions from you out there in the blind copy land. BritishCanada@gmail.com for, public who might sympathize, who have heard our talks. And we'll see what we can do when you send us some good topics. Meantime, we just got to keep the spirits going, and we wish all the people great luck on March 15th. Getting ready. Let's get the spirits pumped up. I'd love to be leading a van of pickets, etc., but we just don't have the resources. Gas money, Hamburg money, etc. And the high-speed network has to be paid here. And every now and then, token to the webmaster and every now and then the 800 line. So, you know, we've got those bills. But hey, I enjoy speaking for freedom of speech for white people on these shows. I enjoy it. Technical part, when it fails, I don't enjoy. But I'm sure eventually we'll get someone to move up to Minden who will be able to be here sitting on the sidelines of technical nature so that I don't have to be so nervous. Okay. I guess we'll be at you tomorrow. I say guess, providing this boy with gray hair can fiddle away with all the buttons without messing it up. Because I'm sure it's probably my fault and not YouTube. Although there was a guy on YouTube in Britain the other day I caught, and he said too he was having connection problems because it's not the modem. Okay, so tomorrow is the 5th of March, and Beattie's got to do some hustling to get some good fresh topics or revitalize the spirit of my brothers and sisters out there in Whiteland. Whitelandia! God bless each and every one of you. Thanks for tuning in. Talk at you tomorrow.